Okay, quick question. Are you a thing? I mean, really think about it. Look at your hand. You probably think of it as an object, right? But what if it's not? What if it's actually a 37 trillion celled process, a nonstop event happening right now? That's the mind-bending idea we're diving into today from the philosopher Alfred North Whitehead. He believed reality isn't made of things at all. It's made of processes. And trust me, that changes everything. Now, to really get why Whitehead's idea is so radical, we've got to start with how we normally see the world. Our default setting for reality. So, what is the world really made of? Well, for most of us, day to day, we just assume it's a big collection of separate objects, right? A chair is a chair, a rock is a rock, you are you, I am me. It seems obvious. And this isn't a new idea, it's a super powerful concept that's been around in Western thought for a long time. And this is really the heart of the conflict we're digging into. On one side, you have what's called the substance view. The idea here is that reality is made of things, objects that are basically static and separate. But on the other side, you have the process view, which says, nope, reality is made of processes, of events that are dynamic and all connected. The process folks argue that when we get fixated on static things, we're missing the most important part of the puzzle, change itself. And trying to ignore change, well, that leads to some pretty big problems. Take the famous paradox of Theseus's ship. Imagine a wooden ship. Over the years, you replace every single plank, one by one. So my question to you is it still the same ship? If you believe a ship is just a thing made of parts, this is a huge headache. Where did its shipness go? But for process philosophy, this is no paradox at all. The answer is simple. The ship is the ongoing process of being repaired and staying afloat. Its identity isn't in the wood. Its identity is the journey through all that change. Okay, so let's really dive into this alternative. What does a universe made of pure motion, of pure process, actually look like? The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said it perfectly. It is not possible to step twice into the same river. Think about that. What makes a river a river? It's the flow. The water is always changing, and when you step into it, you're changing too. The point is, existence isn't static. It depends on this constant, nonstop change. And this is the key takeaway, the big mind shift. The world isn't made of things that change, it's made of the changing itself. So a tree isn't a thing that grows. The tree is the process of treeing, of growing. And you're not a thing that thinks and feels. You are the very process of thinking and feeling. The processes are the real building blocks here, not the objects. Okay, so if reality is just a big flow of processes, what are the most basic parts of that flow? What are the fundamental building blocks? This is where Whitehead's genius really shines. He came up with a whole new fundamental unit for reality. He called it an actual occasion. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine reality isn't a movie made of still frames, but a series of incredibly fast, indivisible moments of becoming. They're not static points in time. They're these tiny, energetic, pulsing events. And here's where he makes his most radical move. Get ready for this. He says these actual occasions aren't just little blips of physical energy. He calls them drops of experience. Yeah. He argues that experience isn't just something humans and animals have. It's the basic stuff that the entire universe is made of. This idea has a name, pan-experientialism. And it means that everything, and I mean everything, from a tiny electron to a massive star, has some kind of basic, primitive form of feeling or experience. Now, what's so cool about this is that it kind of solves the hard problem of consciousness. That huge mystery of how you get mind and feeling out of dead, mindless matter. Whitehead's answer? You don't. Mind in its most basic form was always part of the picture. All right, so if the universe is made of these little drops of experience, how in the world do they all connect? How do they build up into the reality that we see and feel every day? Whitehead's answer is a concept that he named prehension. It's a bit of a weird word, but think of it as a kind of deep feeling or grasping. It's the way every single one of those actual occasions, every little pulse of reality, reaches back and feels the entire history of the universe that just happened. It absorbs bits and pieces from the past and weaves them into what it's becoming right now. And this completely changes how we think about something as simple as perception. So when you look at a tree, your brain isn't just making a little picture of the tree inside your head. No, through prehension, the actual events that are the tree are literally, physically becoming a part of the events that are your experience. You're not just seeing the world, you are partially fusing with it. There's this fantastic quote that says, "We are not only made of stardust, but also of starlight." It captures this perfectly. Think about it. The light from a star millions of light years away, that's a process, an activity of the star, travels all that way and literally enters your eye, becoming part of your experience. At that moment, you and the star are connected. The subject and the object, they kind of become one. Okay, and this is where Whitehead's idea goes from just interesting to absolutely mind-blowing. Because this one concept, prehension, it doesn't just explain how we see things. Whitehead argued it's the key to a grand unified theory for, well, for almost everything in philosophy. Just how powerful is it? Well, according to one analysis, this single idea of prehension provides a unified explanation for 9, that's right, 9, of the biggest puzzles that philosophers have been arguing about for centuries. I mean, just think about what this unlocks. Memory? That's just your present self apprehending or feeling your own past moments. Perception? That's you feeling the world around you. Causality, cause and effect? That's just the influence of past events being felt in the present. Even time and space are explained by this constant flowing process of one moment feeling the next. It all clicks together in this incredibly elegant way. As the philosopher Charles Hartshorne put it, there's just nothing else like this in the entire history of philosophy. Because by seeing reality as this web of feeling and responding, Whitehead found a way to explain both how the past influences us, that's causality, and how we have the freedom to react to it in new, creative ways. So let's bring this all back home. What does this mean for you? It means you are not a fixed thing. You're not some static, unchanging self. In Whitehead's terms, you're a society of experiences. You are an ongoing, creative event. In every single moment, you are a brand new synthesis of everything that has ever happened. And at the same time, you're making a choice that will ripple out and shape the future. Which leaves us with one final and I think pretty profound thought. If you're a process, not a thing, if your identity isn't a fixed state of being, but a dynamic process of becoming, then maybe the most important question isn't who are you, but rather what are you becoming?